In the aftermath of the war between the Green Lanterns and Superman's forces, John Constantine, a powerful magician and exorcist, is in England where a Green Lantern has just demolished a house. It's revealed that the house belongs to Constantine's daughter, named Rose, whose mother has just been killed. Constantine takes her to the Tower of Fate before meeting Detective Chimpanzee and Trigon, with whom he strikes a bargain with. Constantine enlists Batman's aid to join his crusade against the mystical forces that are mysteriously aiding Superman. Meanwhile, Superman's forces look for their missing team members, one of whom has been captured by Constantine. Elsewhere, Superman apprehends an officer who is part of Batman's attack. Superman holds him hostage in order to get information about his missing team members. Constantine gathers allies from Batman's team and other magical users. They plan their next move against Superman. Elsewhere, Harvey Dent, who is initially reluctant to help, has a conversation with Detective Chimpanzee, who advises him to stay and aid the heroes. However, Spectre arrives, killing him and severely injuring Detective Chimpanzee. He also manages to kill Jason Blood, the human half of Trigon. After a brief argument with Constantine and Catwoman, Batman challenges Spectre, allowing Zatanna to rescue the others and himself. Whilst Harley and Zatanna and Dr. Fate attend to Detective Chimpanzee's wounds, Rose interrupts them and is escorted out by Dr. Fate. Constantine arrives and Rose does a contract for him, which seems to interest Dr. Fate. Elsewhere, Sinestro tortures the officer from earlier. This begins to deeply disturb Superman. Spectre then arrives to provide Superman with information. Elsewhere, Batman and Constantine go to Madame Xanadu, who recites a prophecy to them. It's also revealed that Raven, who has been captured by Constantine, is freed by a cat after it topples over a candle. She immediately makes contact with Superman, who goes to rescue her. However, it's revealed to be a trap set by Constantine. Superman is trapped by Ragman, but Superman manages to call on Shazam and the other Justice League members, who save him. Ragman is killed by Spectre in the ensuing conflict. Constantine is attacked and apprehended by Superman. Deadman, however, arrives, possessing the mind of Shazam. Hoping to speak to Jim Corrigan, the man within Spectre, Deadman finds himself thrown out of Shazam's mind, which allows Spectre to mortally wound Deadman. Constantine, having been saved by Zatanna, arrives back to the Tower of Fate, where he and Batman go to meet Swamp Thing, who reveals he is in league with Superman. Deadman heads to Nada Parbat, where the next Deadman is chosen, and it's revealed to be Nightwing. A meeting is held in the Tower of Fate where Batman's forces discusses the prophecy Madame Xanadu made. A plan begins to be formulated. Elsewhere, Spectre meets with Phantom Stranger, who tries to dissuade him from his actions. The Spectre kills Phantom Stranger after he learns a terrible truth. What is this mysterious terrible truth, and who is now controlling the Spectre? So this, once again, is the third year of Injustice, and Injustice at the minute is going through a very interesting transition. And that's something that I just wanted to comment on first, before we get into what this book is doing. Tom Taylor has done a ridiculously good job at creating this Injustice universe. It's been one of the best things that I have ever read as a comic book. And it's really brought me it's really brought me into comic book reading. And I love reading a universe which presents DC in such a way that it gives us new, fresh ideas, and it gives us a sort of interesting take on these very iconic characters. And a lot of the stuff focuses on pre-New 52 ideas, but also presents New 52 ideas as well. And what I really like about Injustice so far is just those ideas and how Tom Taylor is presenting them. Now, this volume is Tom Taylor's last take on this universe. Tom Taylor has unfortunately left the book now. Basically kind of left DC, and I think left fans hanging. And that is why I don't feel like this volume is very good. Honestly, I think Tom Taylor leaving the book has definitely hindered the book in some ways. And why I think it's hindered the book is because this volume is not as strong as his previous runs on Injustice. Now this is from both a more, from what I've read, kind of perspective, and kind of because I think Tom Taylor leaving the book has left the book in, like, because when he left the book, he must have been in a transition phase, and I think a lot of the writing in this book is kind of off, in my opinion. The book focuses on the mystical aspects of DC, and we sort of explore some Vertigo titles here, and we see Swamp Thing, Constantine, Spectre, we also see Deadman, we also see just a lot of mystical-esque characters. Now, as a fan of DC, I've only read the mainstream stuff. Like, I know my Superman, I know my Batman, I know my Wonder Woman, and I know my Flash. I don't know anything about the mystical aspects of DC. I've obviously watched Constantine, and Constantine has definitely helped me get to know some of these characters through watching that series. So I know a little bit about Constantine, but I don't know enough about the mystical aspects of DC. And I do think that kind of hindered my experience with this book. See, really not knowing a lot about the characters. The book focuses a lot on Constantine, who obviously had a TV show recently. So I do think it was kind of obvious that they would choose a character to focus on. from that world. And Constantine is a great character to follow. Constantine in this in the Injustice universe we learn, has a daughter who looks bizarrely a lot like Astra from the show. So we learn that he has a daughter, and that the daughter's mother died during the Green Lantern battle. So we get some very good Constantine moments in this episode, and a lot of his wit and a lot of his sarcastic humor, and a lot of those you're an A word, which I would love to say, but I can't at this present time. So a lot of the A word would describe how Constantine is. But I love his interaction with Batman. These two characters really play off one another in a very interesting way. Because Constantine is a no-nonsense character. And he pushes the boundaries that I think Batman's ethics wouldn't ordinarily cross. So it's really interesting from that perspective. I do like the fact that we have Constantine having a daughter. Obviously with Constantine's lifestyle, I would buy that he has a daughter. An element that I didn't really care for was this prophecy angle that Taylor decided to use. The prophecy angle is kind of often overdone. And basically the prophecy just states that various stuff will happen. Wonder Woman will awaken. And is an example. A new dead man will fall, but another will rise. And I just kind of went, eh. It definitely wasn't a highlight in the book. And unfortunately, it kind of ruined Injustice's good quality. Injustice has a way of subverting your expectations. Like, there are so many right angles. And basically, you think the book is going one way, and then it completely subverts your ideas. The prophecy basically kind of makes the book formulaic, and I didn't like that because now I know how this entire year is going to play out, and there's no surprises now. I kind of know that, I kind of know what's going to happen, which annoyed me. But I do like the certain appearances that we have. We do get Deadman, who dies in this comic. I'm not going to reveal how he dies, but he does die. And who takes up his mantle is really cool and really interesting. We also get a great scene with Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing is all part of this prophecy, like Deadman is, and I really liked that sort of that interest. Another element that I didn't like was the fact that Batman calls Catwoman a criminal, and there is no discussion after that. And the reason why I didn't like that was because I'm a huge fan of Catwoman and Batman being together. Like, obviously I've heard that Catwoman is bisexual now. I'm okay with that, but at the end of the day, I want Catwoman and Batman to be together. And I sort of felt like Batman was being disrespectful to her, so I didn't really like that. And again, it leads back into what I was saying, that there were certain things that happened in this book that kind of should have been explored more but wasn't. We also get a mystery about who Spectre is, which is kind of cool. But what I hate above all else is Zatanna, who is the only mystical character that I know isn't used. In fact, she's underused in a really bad way. Zatanna and Constantine in the comics have a very unique relationship, which Tom Taylor does not explore at all. Why? That would be the most perfect opportunity to explore what would happen if Constantine and Zatanna were in a particular situation. And it should have been explored, and it's a huge missed opportunity to not explore that element. So all in all, guys, yeah, the book isn't really great. There are a lot of disappointing factors being seen here. So unfortunately, I have to give this book a 3.5 out of 5. The art continues to be really, really good. It's just there are elements here that I didn't like. I thought could have been made a whole lot better.